Before you panic, before you assume the 2000 stimulus check is dead, you need to hear this, because any day the Supreme Court could issue a ruling that has everyone on edge. And people are already saying, that's it, the tariffs are gone. And the reality is this: when it comes down to this $2,000 dividend and stimulus check and all the information that's out there, I want to make sure that I give you guys what's actually going on, because the reactions online is not completely true. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly why, step by step, without the hype, without fear mongering, without a political spin on it. So let's get right into it. All right. So let's start with the core issue, this proposed $2,000 payment, whether you call it a stimulus, a rebate, a dividend. It's been repeatedly tied to this tariff revenue. All right. And the president has said himself that tariffs have brought in hundreds of billions of dollars and will bring in trillions over the next decade. So here's what the actual data shows. Roughly 261 billion in tariff revenue has already been collected in 2025, and a projected 3 to 4 trillion over the next 10 years. So yes, the revenue does exist, but here's where the concern comes in. And the thing about it is, if the Supreme Court rules these emergency tariffs are unlawful, then all the money gets refunded, and the 2000 repayment or payment completely disappears. And that sounds logical on the surface, but it's actually completely ignores something even more critical. So here's what most people don't understand about this, right? The administration does not only have one tool to be able to generate import revenue, right? So tariffs are just one way to be able to do it. If emergency tariffs are struck down, the government could still be able to impose different ways to be able to collect that. They could use trade enforcement authorities. They could apply sector-specific import fees. They can restructure how things are how things are operated under different statutes as well. And that is what is potentially happening, right? So it's going to be the same kind of money, but it's going to be a different type of label. So they may not necessarily call it a tariff anymore, but economically, it's going to be able to accomplish the same thing. And that is why, even if the court strikes it down, the structure that they currently have, revenue generation does not automatically drop. All right. So here is the thing that you really need to pay attention to, right? So let me just prepare you for what's coming. All right. So the moment this ruling drops, especially if tariffs are struck down, you're going to hear that this $2,000 payment is dead. And people are probably going to say, there goes the dividend, or this is not true, or this is not real, and all these other things. But the reality is this, right? The reaction will probably be premature, because historically, administrations have responded immediately when revenue authority is challenged. So they pivot, they're going to probably reframe it, they're going to restructure it, and that's what they're probably going to do. So can this $2,000 payment actually be funded? All right, so let's talk about some real numbers here and see the actual reality of this being able to be a real thing. All right, so the estimated cost of a $2,000 payment on the low end is going to be $270 billion. On the high end, it's going to be over $600 billion. So yes, one single year of tariffs is not going to cover this, right? But here's the key insight that most people miss. This was never clearly framed as a 1-year payout. So if they decide to structure it over 10 years, then this becomes roughly 10 to 20% of the projected tariff revenue. So functionally, it's similar to a profit share dividend, right? So that changes the entire feasibility conversation. So who would actually be eligible for this? So another massive unknown factor is who's going to be eligible for this, right? So there's no finalized income thresholds, but what we currently do know is that the Treasury security reference under 100,000. So that figure is not formalized, is not finalized, but historically thresholds tend to be much lower and really be able to benefit lower income individuals, right? So my expectation is probably going to be well below 100,000 for individuals until legislation exists. Everything else is going to be speculation. All right, so the bottom line is this: do not panic when this ruling drops. Here's the simplest way to see it. Supreme Court ruling does not automatically mean an instant cancellation. Tariffs being struck down does not mean that the revenue is gone forever. revenue being gone does not mean that the $2,000 is impossible to happen. The situation is actually pretty fluid. It's political. It's highly strategic. And regardless of what happens, the administration has shown it's committed to finding a way, right? Only time is going to tell, but panic helps no one, all right? So here's what I want you to understand, right? Listen, so I'm watching and I'm going to be trying to keep up with this as much as I can to give you guys the court rulings, the treasury updates, the policy shifts, some behind the scenes things that are going on as well. Anything that's going to affect this decision and anything that's going to impact your money, the benefits that you may receive, Social Security, stimulus payments, rebates, dividends, stimulus. You're going to hear it, and I'm going to do my best to keep it honest and clear without trying to overhype it. And just understand this, right? So if this video helped you understand a little bit more about what's going on, I want you to make sure you do two things. Make sure you share this video with someone who is currently stressing and worrying about this. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and talk soon.